Chosen people, you are born in this world with a deep purpose, and your every step is already mapped by the universe. When the right time comes, the event in your life will happen, which the universe has already decided. You click to watch this video today. It is not a mere coincidence, but a part of the divine plan of the universe. Now, in the coming few days, something is going to happen in your life, which will change your life completely. And all this will happen because the universe has sent you to this earth with a big mission, which only you can fulfill. And now your luck is going to shine. When you go to fulfill this mission of the universe, money will be needed. For this, the universe is now going to do a miracle in your life. You are living your normal life when suddenly, out of nowhere, you get to know that a government official chosen by God wants to meet you in private. And they know much more than you do. Rumors say that this person has access not only to state secrets, but also to the untold destinies of people. It sounds unreal, right? But don't give up, because the reason behind this is more incredible than you can imagine. God has purposely arranged for you to meet this person. The story behind this will blow your mind. In today's video, we will learn how everything is falling into place for you, the chosen one, so that you can experience the abundance, peace, and purpose you were always destined for. Before the universe immerses you in this deep transformation, you can give your feedback to the universe by commenting 999. And if you are not connected to the energy of this channel, you can join by subscribing to the channel. A mysterious invitation. On a normal day, when the city buzzes with its usual rhythm, your routine is interrupted by a knock on the door. It's hesitant at first, but it becomes more insistent when you don't answer immediately. Expecting a neighbor or a guy from work, you open it and find yourself in front of a stranger whose appearance radiates an air of mystery. He stands tall, wearing a simple but elegant uniform that indicates authority, although you don't recognize him. Without saying anything, he hands you a letter. It's heavy in your hand, the paper thick and rich, sealed with a wax seal that immediately catches your attention. The seal is like you've never seen before, a mixture of complex symbols that seem to move and glow when touched by light. At first glance, it appears to be a simple design of spirals and glyphs, but as you look closer, hidden motifs reveal themselves, drawings of wings, eyes, and ancient scripts. It's as if the seal itself is alive, containing the essence of something great within it. Your fingers tremble slightly when you open it, a strange thrill running down your spine. Inside, the handwriting is both beautiful and impressive, each letter carefully formed, as if written by someone who respected the weight of every word. The message reads, "Your presence is requested by James, the man chosen by God. He possesses wisdom that is beyond the understanding of ordinary mortals. Come prepared. They know more than you think." The words linger in the air long after you've read them, full of meaning. The title, "The One Chosen by God," reverberates in your mind. This man is no ordinary government official. No, he is said to be a man appointed by divine will, one who possesses both political power and mystical insight. Tales of his prophecies and impossible accuracy are whispered among the people, though most dismiss them as folklore or exaggerated stories. Still, the letter in your hands feels very real, its weight pressing into your palm as if gripping you in that moment. You look at the stranger, expecting him to explain, give you some context about the true nature of what you've just read. But he only nods once, a silent acknowledgement of the message's importance, and turns on his heel to leave without saying another word. The echo of his footsteps soon fades, leaving you alone, your heart thumping and mind full of questions. Why you? What would a man appointed by God need from a person like you? This thought keeps running through your mind with growing uneasiness and anticipation each time. There is no indication in the letter as to why you have been summoned or what will happen at this meeting, only a mysterious hint that the official knows far more about you than you expect. Personal secrets, past mistakes, and even things you have hidden from yourself. It seems as if everything could be exposed to this man chosen by God. Suddenly, your mundane concerns of just a few moments ago, work deadlines, chores, social plans, seem distant and irrelevant. The world around you, so familiar and predictable, sometimes seems to change so slowly, as if some invisible force has thrown it off its axis. Clutching the letter tightly, you realize you have no choice but to go on, face whatever revelation awaits you, and prepare for the answers you didn't know you were looking for. Mysterious setting. The meeting place is not in a government building, but in a secluded grand chamber filled with relics and artifacts that sparkle with otherworldly energy. The journey to the meeting place takes you away from the familiar chaos of the city center and takes you to less traveled territory. The streets become narrower, lined with tall buildings that tell stories of forgotten eras. Finally, you reach the entrance, a huge carved arch with intricate patterns that seem to twist and weave like vines. There are no signs or guards, only the feeling that this place exists for those who have to find it. Passing through the arch, you descend into a dimly lit corridor that feels both ancient and otherworldly. The walls are made of dark, polished stone that absorbs light rather than reflecting it, giving the whole place a sense of depth and mystery. The floor beneath your feet is cold and slick, the echoes of your footsteps seeming strangely muffled, as if swallowed up by the silence that dominates this hidden space. At the end of the hallway, you encounter a set of double doors, huge and ornate, engraved with symbols that resemble those on the letter's seal. You pause for a moment, noticing the fine details, the flowing lines, the depiction of eyes and wings, the way the carvings seem to pulsate softly, almost as if they were alive. A subtle hum vibrates in the air, tingling your nerves. With a deep breath, you open the doors and step inside. The sight you are met with is mesmerizing. The chamber is vast, its high ceiling disappearing into shadow, illuminated by the glow of hundreds of candles positioned at various heights. Each flame flickers in a way that seems deliberate, as if part of a silent choreography. The room is filled with relics, ancient artifacts made of gold, silver, and materials that are not easy to describe. They rest on pedestals of marble and ebony, and each of them seems to hold a story, vibrating with energy that sends tingles across your skin as you pass by. There are statues depicting both beauty and horror, faces frozen in expressions that suggest they know secrets they will never share. Old leather-bound books with titles written in a language you cannot read are placed haphazardly on the walls and tables. Scrolls are opened here and there, revealing maps of constellations that you realize do not match any you have seen in the night sky. It's a place where time itself feels suspended, a sacred space of knowledge and power that doesn't belong to the outside world at all. In the middle of the room is a large carved wooden chair, almost throne-like, and placed in a way that it commands attention. Behind it, a large window, stretching from floor to ceiling, frames the city below. The cityscape, with its cluster of lights and moving cars, seems small and insignificant from this perspective, a stark reminder of the power of the person who chose this view. The window itself seems more than just glass. It glows lightly, as if filled with the same supernatural energy that fills the room. The air is heavy, dense with an unearthly force that presses down on your chest, making every breath feel heavy. It's not just the scent of old books, candles, and polished wood that you're inhaling. It's something intangible, something powerful. You feel like an intruder, a mortal, encroaching on a place where only someone touched by the divine can tread. Suddenly, a subtle shift in the air catches your attention, like the shift before a storm. You realize you are not alone, and that the person who has the answers to the questions you didn't know you had is about to appear before you. Introducing the elected official. The room stops as a figure comes into view, emerging from a shadowy corner behind the great throne-like chair. For a moment, time seems to stand still, every candle flame stilling as if in honor of the one who has entered. The air thickens, filled with an invisible energy that buzzes at the edge of your senses. They are dressed in robes like you have never seen before, fabric that seems alive, changing colors as they move. One moment, deep sapphire; the next, a rich, liquid gold that glistens when they turn slightly. It is as if the very material holds the essence of sunrise and night, blending seamlessly as they move. The robes are intricately adorned with delicate embroidery, symbols and patterns that echo the carvings and artifacts around you, whispering in the language of gods and ancestors. Here and there, the gems catch the light, scattering tiny sparks of red, blue, and green across the room like a fractured rainbow. It's not showy, but rather carries an understated authority, as if each thread is steeped in purpose. Their presence is both quiet and impressive, a paradox that makes it hard to look away. The way they walk is almost otherworldly, as if the earth itself moves to support each step. They hold themselves with a posture that commands respect, shoulders broad and heads high, but there's no arrogance, only a deep sense of who and what they are. They stop right in front of the throne, meeting your eyes with a gaze that sends a shiver down your spine. The eyes are what affect you the most. They seem to hold galaxies within them, deep pools of darkness and light intertwined, filled with age-old wisdom and a foreboding look that suggests they've seen things that would break most people's minds. You catch a glimpse of something else there too, compassion, perhaps, or curiosity. Whatever it is, it's fleeting, almost immediately masked by a calm, enigmatic expression. Their faces are ageless, with no obvious signs of youth or age, only a timeless quality that makes them both familiar and unknown. They open their hands, palms up, revealing markings that shine like seals on letters. The patterns change slightly, as if aware of your gaze, and you can't help but feel they're speaking a language you can't properly hear. When they begin to speak, their voice is quiet, yet it has an underlying power, full of the resonance of someone accustomed to being listened to without question. "Welcome," they say, their voice echoing slightly, as if it is not just their own voice, but made up of the voices of others speaking in unison. You have come to a defining moment, though you do not yet know why. They pause, their eyes narrowing slightly, as if they are peering into you, through you and beyond, as if reading a story written in invisible ink on your soul. Their expression changes just enough to indicate that they have seen something that must be acknowledged. There is no smile, but there is a subtle softening around their eyes, a sign that they do not use what they know to instill fear, though fear can still come naturally under such scrutiny. You feel they are weighing you, not just as a person standing in front of them, but as a piece of a larger puzzle that only they can fully see. The room stops breathing as they take a step closer. The shifting colors of their robes seem to flutter even more intensely now, a mirror of the silent tension that fills the place. It is clear that this is not just an officer. This is a person who embodies something much bigger, whose very existence seems to balance the line between the mortal and the divine. You stand before them, knowing that whatever happens next will change your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. revelation of knowledge. The silence in the chamber feels almost oppressive as Officer James watches you, his gaze probing, unwavering. When he finally speaks, his voice is like you've never heard before. It resonates with a unique power, full of subtle tones that seem to come from everywhere at once. It's as if a group of invisible beings are singing in harmony with him, each word carrying an echo that vibrates through the room and reverberates deep within your chest. You wonder why you were called, don't you? His tone is calm but cuts through the tension like a blade. There's no accusation in the question, but it has a weight that suggests he already knows the answer. Your throat tightens involuntarily, and your pulse quickens when you feel his gaze on you, reading not just your expressions, but something deeper beyond the surface. They pause, letting the silence linger just long enough to make you feel exposed, as if you're standing on the edge of a vast abyss. "I know about your role in a specific past event," they say, their voice low, almost conspiratorial now. It's as if they're exposing a secret you buried so deeply that even you forgot where it was. Their words stir up memories, flashes of that day or night, the choices you made, the doubts that followed, and the consequences that continue to haunt you in the quieter moments. But they don't stop there. "I know your hopes," they say, and something changes in their expression, a momentary tenderness that hints at understanding. It feels strange to hear them speak of your dreams, those quiet aspirations you've never shared with anyone, those desires you've kept close to your heart. You're almost startled when they say, "your fears." Your mind immediately goes back to those nights when anxiety whispered in the dark, reminding you of your deepest vulnerabilities. Then comes the part that sends shivers down your spine. "Even the dreams you deny you have," he says, eyes flashing a mysterious spark. You're startled because yes, there are dreams you don't dare name, desires and ambitions you've pushed aside for practicality or fear of failure. The weight of being known so well, seen so unquestionably, settles over you like a heavy blanket. It's a revelation that feels both frightening and strangely liberating, but then his expression hardens, his voice taking on an edge that speaks of a truth far greater than personal matters. "But even more than that," he says, moving closer, "I know what the world doesn't know, the truth that binds us." The room seems to throb with those words, as if acknowledging their importance. You hold your breath as the implications sink in. This is bigger than you, bigger than any single person or event. It is a truth that binds not just you and the figure in front of you, but weaves its way into the fabric of existence. He doesn't lift his gaze as he continues. There is a story woven through time, sewn into the hearts of those chosen to look behind the curtain. We are not just players, we are keepers of that story. You feel the weight of that statement sink into your chest, the realization that whatever knowledge he possesses is vast and infinite, touching everything you know and countless things you don't. The room seems to close in, the air filled with something powerful and charged. You suddenly understand why you were summoned, and why this meeting couldn't have happened in the halls of power or in broad daylight. This is where truth is whispered, where fate is acknowledged but never spoken out loud. And as Officer James catches your gaze, you realize this is the moment everything changes. The knowledge that binds the two of you is no longer just a secret, it's the foundation of a destiny about to unfold. Signs of a larger conspiracy. The conversation takes a darker turn. The room darkens almost imperceptibly, as if the shadows on the walls have darkened in response to the change in conversation. Officer James takes a breath, the fabric of his robe glowing in a muted gray, reflecting the seriousness of the conversation they share. He studies you for a moment, as if gauging your readiness to hear what's coming next. When he speaks, His voice is low, with a seriousness that sends a chill down your spine. There are certain forces at work, both mortal and divine, that are playing a game older than civilization. He says, each word carefully chosen, dripping an unspoken history. The air around you seems to be filled with tension, a pulse that matches the steady, restless beating of your heart. The flickering of the candles becomes erratic, casting restless, shifting shadows on the relics and books that line the room. It's as if even the light has been disturbed by what's being said. You can't help but lean forward, caught between a sense of foreboding and the inevitable pull of curiosity. The officer's eyes, sharp and dark like obsidian, hold you captive. You think the world you know is defined by borders and treaties, governed by those with power, money, or influence. But what you don't see, what most people don't understand, is the existence of a faction that thrives in the invisible spaces between order and chaos. He pauses, letting the weight of the revelation sink in. Your mind races, half-formed and confused as questions emerge. A secret cabal. A cabal that operates within the very structures you've come to trust. A cabal that extends beyond the tangible boundaries of reality. The idea is almost too much. Yet the officer's eyes and voice leave no room for doubt. This is no mere whispered conspiracy, but a dark truth that stands out plainly. They pull strings from the shadows. The officer continues, his tone darkening, influencing events that shape history and determine the fates of kings and commoners alike. They are everywhere and nowhere, wielding a power that defies mortal understanding. These forces don't simply plot for wealth or dominance. No, they play a game that predates the rise and fall of empires. A game older than written language, older than the oldest myths. A game older than the game itself. Your throat tightens as the implications play out in your mind. You think of the headlines you've read, the sudden shifts in power that seem beyond comprehension, the disasters that defy logic. Were they executed in a well-planned manner, each a carefully executed move in a game that is completely beyond anyone's comprehension? Your chest grows heavy as you realize that what you're hearing is not just a tale of political intrigue, but one that touches the realm of gods and legends. And you, he says, the word flashing like lightning, are, unwittingly, a piece on that board. The statement comes with a bang, and for a moment the room seems smaller, pressing in around you. You swallow hard, trying to steady yourself. The officer's gaze stays fixed on you, unwavering, filled with a strange mixture of empathy and stern resolve. Your actions, your choices have not gone unnoticed. You are far more entangled in this ancient conflict than you realize. The thought sends a shiver through you, a deep, primal fear mixed with a faint thrill of significance. If what they say is true, every decision you have made has been part of something far grander than your personal story. You think of moments that seemed important but mundane, an odd encounter here, a sudden twist of fate there. Were they all pieces of this vast, invisible puzzle? A heavy silence follows, broken only by the distant sound of candles crackling and the quiet hum of energy that seems to radiate through the walls of the chamber. The officers step back slightly, their robes turning a deep, velvety blue, almost as if mirroring the gravity of the revelation. You must understand, he continues, that whatever lies ahead will challenge everything you thought you knew. The road ahead is fraught with uncertainty and danger, but now that you are aware, you cannot go back to ignorance. In that moment, you realize that whatever the future holds, the world as you knew it is gone, replaced by a landscape of shadows, mysteries, and a game whose rules you are only just beginning to understand. A test of loyalty and courage. The air in the room thickens with tension, so palpable it seems to hum just below the surface of your skin. Officer James steps closer, his eyes narrowing as he holds your gaze with an intensity that almost suffocates. "But you have a choice," he says, the words sinking into the silence with the weight of an ancient command. The statement hangs between you like a living thing, demanding acceptance. You swallow hard, the room around you blurring as the importance of his words takes over. This is not just an invitation. This is a crossroads, a moment that will define not just your life, but perhaps the lives of many others. The officer's presence seems to loom large, his robes turning a deep, stormy grey that ripples like a choppy sea. The energy in the room crackles, and for a moment you feel as though you're standing on the edge of an abyss, one wrong move a precipice that could spell doom, away from a collapse that will have no end. "You can join the power I represent," he adds, his voice now carrying an edge that almost sounds like a warning. Behind those eyes that shine with wisdom and foreboding, you feel the weight of promises and threats simultaneously. The idea of allegiance stirs something inside you, a mix of apprehension and thrill that you're not entirely proud of. The power he speaks of isn't merely political, it's raw, unfathomable power that alters the course of history and reshapes reality itself. But before you can fully comprehend the implications, his expression hardens. Or face the consequences of walking away. The words are sharp, leaving no room for misunderstanding. You imagine what it might mean to walk away, the relentless pursuit of those invisible forces, a life surrounded by uncertainty or worse, becoming a pawn in a game where you no longer even have the illusion of control. Know that the path we walk together can lead to glory or ruin, he says, something human flashing across his face, something close to weakness, quickly hidden. His eyes search yours, looking for any sign of resolve or hesitation. Depends on your actions and loyalty. In that moment, you realize that this is as much a test as a proposal. It is a test of your loyalty, your courage, and your willingness to step into a world where light and shadow cannot be distinguished, and truth and lies dance together in an endless waltz. Your decision will define not only who you are, but also what you stand for. And as you meet their gaze, you feel the weight of that choice in a way never seen before. The unraveling of truths. The room seems to shrink as the conversation deepens, each word revealing truths that feel too grand to grasp, yet too real to deny. Officials' gems holds your gaze, their eyes unwavering, glimmering with a mixture of gravity and something more complex, perhaps compassion or a sense of shared burden. You shift uneasily, the weight of their words pressing down on you like a physical force. The artifacts and relics around the chamber, once just curious decorations, now seem to radiate with new significance, as if the room itself is listening. You come from a lineage that is anything but ordinary, they say, their voice tinged with an emotion you can't quite name. It's neither regret nor triumph, but a somber acknowledgement of an inescapable truth. You feel a jolt of disbelief, your mind racing through memories of family stories, mundane moments around dinner tables, old photographs that seem to tell nothing but ordinary tales. None of it hinted at a legacy that would link you to something this monumental. As they continue, you catch your breath, realization dawning slowly and heavily. Your lineage traces back to ancient prophecies, stories whispered in forgotten tongues, tales carried on the wind of places where time itself seems to pause. The thought is overwhelming, and your hands clench at your sides, as if searching for something solid to anchor you. How could it be that you, who once worried about daily struggles and simple human pursuits, are connected to something so vast, so consequential? Officials' gems leans in, their robes shifting with a subtle shimmer of dark blues and silvers, colors that seem to reflect the gravity of the moment. Their voice drops to a whisper, but it carries through the room with an eerie clarity, as if the walls are amplifying their words. The future hinges on a decision you will make soon, they say, each word deliberately slow, carving themselves into your mind. Your pulse quickens, and you feel as though the room has tilted, reality unsteady beneath your feet. A chill races down your spine as the magnitude of their statement settles in. This is no longer just about you or the strange meeting that brought you here. It's about the threads of history woven long before your birth that are now tightening, pulling you toward an inevitable choice. You swallow hard, trying to keep your composure as your mind flits between fear and a strange, reluctant excitement. What decision? What event could hold such power? 1,000 questions swarm your mind, but the official's intense gaze keeps you silent. They continue, eyes softening just enough to suggest that they understand the turmoil in your mind. Choose wisely, they say, their voice carrying an almost paternal warning, the kind given by someone who has seen too many choices made in haste or ignorance. For it is not just your life that will be affected, but the very fabric of our world. The room feels electric, charged with potential energy that could tip in any direction. Every breath feels louder, more significant, as if even the air around you is waiting for your response. You look at official's name, searching their face for any hint of what choice they might hope you make, but they remain inscrutable, their expression a mask of neutrality and patience. Suddenly, memories start to resurface. Fragments of stories your grandparents told, strange customs your parents insisted upon without explanation. Pieces that once felt disconnected now snap into focus, each a clue pointing to this moment, this truth. You realize that while this revelation shakes you to your core, it's also something that has been quietly waiting in the wings of your life, ready to reveal itself when the time was right. And now, that time has come. The departure and the unanswered question. The meeting concludes with a foreboding farewell. Remember, everything you do from now will be watched, not just by me, but by those who wish to shape this world to their design. Now go, and do not speak of this to anyone. You leave the chamber with the weight of new knowledge and the undeniable feeling that your life will never be the same. Conclusion. The room fades behind you, and as you step into the open air, the city around you looks both familiar and alien. The question nags at your mind. What role do you truly play in this game of divine and mortal stakes?